Have you ever wondered what a tin of tomatoes, chocolate bars, and broccoli have in common? Is it carbs? No. Proteins? Nope. Fats? Hell no. It's bugs. Yes, the very same creepy crawlies you try to keep out of your house. That's right. Now here's what you need to know. Bugs, or at least tiny bug bits, are in most of our foods, and there is absolutely nothing unhealthy or unsafe about it. What? Yes, you heard that right. Vegans and vegetarians, you're probably going to have to reconsider eating veggies, as the harsh fact is that you do consume up to 1 to 2 pounds of cockroaches, flies, maggots, and other creepy crawlies hidden in your food every year. Ugh. Our produce and canned foods are full of little bug bits. Everything from broccoli to spinach to canned tomatoes can contain heads, legs, thoraxes, and even entire insects. At this point, you're probably thinking, how is this even allowed? Is this safe? Well, the FDA has a handbook for levels of natural and unavoidable defects in foods that present no health hazards to humans. Almost everything that we consume has a certain amount of bug parts in it that the FDA has deemed okay for human consumption, including health food, junk food, snacks, and drinks. Yeah, that's right. Let's look at some more shocking facts. Up to 8 bug parts are legally allowed by the FDA in each chocolate bar. Eating 100 pounds of chocolate would mean that you could have consumed up to 1 pound of bugs. So next time you want to gift someone special a box of chocolates, think again. Eating 100 pounds of bread would mean you could have consumed up to 1.5 pounds of bugs. Bugs are even in certain drinks. Did you know up to 5% of the hops in each batch of beer is bugs? So next time you go out to grab a few cold ones, ask the bartender for a bug beer. In every can measuring 3.5 ounces, up to 19 maggots and 74 mites are allowed. That slice of red velvet you love so much contains carmine, a vibrant red food colorant which is made from the crushed abdomens of female beetle-like African insects. For centuries, people have consumed bugs. Everything from locusts to beetles, termites, caterpillars, and dragonflies. This even has a name: entomophagy. Almost 2,000 species of insects are consumed across Asia, Africa, Mexico, and South America. This includes 235 species of butterflies and moths, 344 beetles, 313 ants, bees, and wasps, 239 grasshoppers, crickets, and cockroaches, 39 termites, and 20 dragonflies, as well as cicadas. Somebody call the exterminator! Now, let's look at some of the benefits of consuming these bugs we're running away from. Insects are a more sustainable source of protein for the growing population across the planet, as opposed to the more widely accepted protein sources. In addition to the protein, insects are also a great source of energy-rich fat, fibre, vitamins, and minerals. The risk of disease or a virus like swine flu is decreased, since insects are genetically very different from humans. The environmental impact of farming insects for food is far lower than livestock farming, since they produce fewer greenhouse gases and require 95% less water. 80% of a cricket's body is edible, as opposed to just 40% of a cow's and 50% of a chicken's body. So the fact is that bugs might be the best way to feed our growing population, which is growing at an alarming rate. The demand for meat-based protein is also rising. If everyone starts eating as much meat as Americans do, that would require more land area than even exists on the planet. Well, if you get over the yuck factor, you could be making a smart choice by adding some of these insects to your diet. What do you think? One of the best ways to experience the culture of different countries while travelling around the globe is to try the foods that the locals eat. They may not be to everyone's tastes, but the following foods, considered weird and bizarre, or even dangerous to outsiders, are considered delicacies in their respective countries. It's time to take a trip around the world and delve into some of the weird foods that are considered lip-smacking delicacies. Keep watching YouCurious. Discover more. Know more. 1. Wasp crackers, Japan. Just as the name suggests, these cookies are made of wasps. This cookie was invented in Japan by a digger wasp lover group, Jibachi Ikokai, and a local biscuit maker. These wasps are trapped by hunters, boiled in water, dried, and then added to the rice cracker mix. The mix is then stamped in a hot iron cracker cutter, and there you have a wasp cracker ready to go straight into your mouth. But do you know why these are eaten? Wasps contain the highest percentage of protein of any edible insect. It contains 81% protein. Next time you need some protein, wasp crackers are the way to go. 2. Crispy tarantulas, Cambodia. Fuzzy, don't you think? Crispy tarantulas were first eaten by the starving Cambodian people, and they soon became the delicacy of Cambodia. These spiders are seasoned with oil, garlic, sugar, and salt, and deep fried. Tarantulas are said to have high zinc content and are good sources of magnesium, sodium, and phosphorus. They are particularly good for child growth. 3. Mopane worms, South Africa. Can you imagine yourself eating live worms? Mopane worms are a really large caterpillar belonging to the Gonimbrasia bellina species, more commonly known as the emperor moth. These worms are named mopane because it feeds on the leaves of the mopane tree. They can be found only in South Africa. They are eaten as a fried snack with a combination of tomatoes, garlic, peanuts, chilies, and onions. They can also be eaten alive, fresh from the tree, to taste their unique and distinctive flavor undiluted by other ingredients. These mopane worms are said to contain 60% protein and high levels of iron and calcium. 4. Escargot snails, Paris. Escargot snails are a popular delicacy in Paris. Escargot were first eaten thousands of years ago by the Romans. They even farmed snails so there would be a huge supply to meet the demand. The first escargot recipe appeared in Le Ménagier de Paris, circa 1394. These snails are cooked in garlic butter, chicken stock, or wine and placed back into their shells. Escargot are naturally high in protein and low in fat content. They contain up to 15% protein, 2.4% fat, and about 80% water. 5. Bondegi silkworms, South Korea. Bondegi is a popular street food in South Korea, made with silkworm pupae. The word bondegi literally means chrysalis or pupa in Korean. Bondegi became a popular option during the Korean War when food was scarce and there was a shortage of protein-rich ingredients. Bondegi silkworms are eaten either boiled or steamed with some added spices. A candied version of the same is also made with sugar. The worm's outer shell is crunchy, while the inside is soft and juicy. These worms are packed with protein and amino acids. 6. Coconut worms in Vietnam. Do you cringe at the sight of wriggling worms? If yes, then coconut worms are definitely not for you. Coconut worms are a famous delicacy in Vietnam. These worms are eaten alive after being dipped in chili fish sauce. They can also be eaten as a grilled or fried snack. 7. Maggot cheese in Sardinia, Italy. Cheese comes in different varieties and tastes. One such type of cheese is kasumatsu. Kasumatsu literally means rotten cheese. It is a traditional Sardinian sheep milk cheese that contains live insect larvae, maggots. The milk is first boiled and left to curdle for about 3 weeks. Post that, the crust is cut off so that flies can enter and lay their eggs. The cheese is then left in a dark hut for about 2 to 3 months, allowing the eggs to hatch and grow into larvae. The larva then begins to eat this rotting cheese. Their excretions that pass through their bodies is what gives the cheese its soft texture and distinct flavor. 8. Century egg in China. A century egg, also known as black egg or 100-year-old egg, is a pretty famous delicacy of China. They can be traced back 500 years ago to the Ming Dynasty. These are nothing but eggs of either duck, chicken, or quail, preserved with a mixture of salt, quicklime, and rice hulls for several weeks to several months, depending on the method of processing. This process makes the yolk of the egg green or greyish-black, with a creamy consistency and strong flavour due to the hydrogen sulfide and ammonia present, while the white part becomes a dark brown translucent jelly with a salty flavour. Century eggs are high in protein, iron, selenium and vitamin D. The Chinese also believe that the eggs help enhance virility. 9. Locusts in Myanmar. Locusts are similar to grasshoppers, except that they roam in large swarms. They can do a lot of damage to agriculture and crops. It is said that the early farmers began eating the locusts in order to protect their crops. Locusts are eaten in many countries around the world. In Myanmar, locusts are eaten fried and some are even chocolate-coated. Locusts are said to be quite rich in proteins. 10. Balut, the Philippines. Balut is a common street food available in the Philippines. Balut is nothing but a duck egg, except that this egg is fertilized and allowed to develop for a period of 14 to 21 days, depending on local culture. At this point, the fetus is fully grown with feathers, wings and beak. It is then hard-boiled with the embryo inside. This dish is eaten straight from the shell with salt, chili and vinegar. You just need to crack, slurp and bite. Balut eggs are packed with vitamin C and beta-carotene, which helps clean free radicals from your bloodstream and support your immune system. They also contain niacin, riboflavin and thiamine. That's all, folks. If given a chance to taste some of these, we surely wouldn't want to taste them. What about you? Do let us know in the comments section. When you follow your heart, where does it take you? We bet it takes you to your fridge, and sometimes to your favourite restaurant in the city, or restaurants. But do you know the exact origin of what you eat? Yeah, food can be funny sometimes. You may think you know where the dish came from or belongs to a particular cuisine, but you'll be surprised to know their origins. Let's talk about some dishes that are not from where we thought they were. French fries. Yes, the one thing we hate sharing isn't really from where we think it is. It's not French. Historians claim this popular dish came about in the late 17th century from Belgium. The people from Belgium liked very small fish in a crispy preparation. When they had no fish, they'd make potatoes in the shape of small, thin fish. And that's how our delicious French fries came to exist. Croissants. Croissants from France are just what you need to begin your day, don't you agree? Except that they aren't from France, but Austria. Yes, it is popularly believed that an Austrian artillery officer opened a bakery in Paris in around 1839 and sold the Viennese kipferl, made from buttery, flaky pastry. The French further adapted this mouth-watering dish into a crescent shape, and we have the croissant. Samosas. The popular samosa is a perfect snack for every Indian. Filled with delicious potato, samosa can actually be found in several countries in different versions. But no, it did not originate from India. What? It is believed that it originated somewhere in the Middle East and travelled all this way, making for a spicy evening snack in India. Apple pie. American as apple pie. This is a very popular saying in the USA that denotes something seen as all-American. But did it actually originate from the US? No, it originated in England, where the first recipe of an apple pie was printed by Geoffrey Chaucer, and that included apples, figs, raisins, pears, and a pastry shell. Yummy. Tikka masala. A visit to India definitely means trying the delicious food in the tikka masala preparation, but the origins of this popular, supposedly Indian dish can be debated. Though Indians believe that it was originally created in Punjab, others claim the dish was actually first made in Glasgow in the early 1970s, where a Bangladeshi chef added sauce to chicken tikka or skewers of chicken pieces. Well, all that doesn't matter now, because in 2001, the then Foreign Secretary Robin Cook declared it was a true British national dish. spaghetti and meatballs. Raise your hand if the sound of spaghetti and meatballs just made you drool. Well, yes, it does count for one of the most delicious dishes created. But where did it come from? The US? No, it's actually partially Italian. Yes, Italian immigrants made their way to the US and created this classic dish to pamper your taste buds. Fajitas. Don't you wish you could have a fajita every day? Yeah, a delicious, yummylicious Mexican fajita. Except fajitas aren't from Mexico. Feel like your whole life is a lie after knowing this fact? A fajita's roots go back to Texas ranches in the 1930s, making it a true Tex-Mex dish. Wow, these were some facts we didn't expect, did we? Well, as long as they satisfy our taste buds, we don't really mind wherever they originated from. How can creatures eat their own kind? Ever thought what it would be like if human beings ate other human beings for survival? That would be disgusting. However, in the animal kingdom, cannibalism is quite common. Many animal species eat their own kind for survival or to protect their homes from predators. But you wouldn't suspect that these 5 animals actually turn to their own kind as a food source. Hamster. As cute as they may seem, most species of hamsters are cannibals. Both the male and female hamsters eat their young ones if they are weak or sick. A female may kill her babies if there are too many, and if she cannot defend them when her territory is at risk. Praying mantis. Definitely not as angelic as the name suggests. The female species of the praying mantis sometimes bites off the head of her lover immediately after mating in order to sustain herself and nurture her soon-to-be offspring. It is also easier since the male is generally smaller in size. Rabbit. Very adorable indeed, and also very clean. So clean that the mother eats her younger ones just to keep things tidy after giving birth. The mother rabbit sometimes also eats her stillborn if she senses a predator in order to protect herself and her other bunnies. It is also known that rabbits eat their babies if they are very hungry, thirsty, or cold. Polar bear. Not until recently has it been recorded that polar bears are forced to eat their young ones due to global warming. It has become difficult for them to hunt seals due to the elimination of ice blocks. Therefore, in order to survive, they're compelled to eat their babies. Chicken. Chickens peck one another in order to establish power and hierarchy. Therefore, the term pecking order. Chickens also blindly imitate one another, so if one chicken starts pecking another, the rest will follow, thus turning them into cannibals. It has also been identified that chickens who have calcium deficiency sometimes eat their own eggs. So if you feel sorry about eating eggs, don't worry, the chickens eat them too.
Have you ever wondered why food gets spoiled even though it's way before its expiry date? Believe it or not, it's the way you've been storing it. Yes, different foods need different storage methods that keep them from going bad. Let's learn all about that today. One, onion and garlic. Onions and garlic love to be in dry, dark places, so do them a favour and keep them away from sunlight. They definitely don't go in the fridge as they may rot due to condensation and cold temperatures. 2. Mushrooms. Firstly, it isn't advisable to store fresh mushrooms for longer than a day. If you must, there are 2 ways to do so. It can either be kept in a paper bag and refrigerated, where it can be stored for 1 more day. Or if you wash and dry the mushrooms and keep them in the deep freezer, they can be stored much longer. 3. Fresh greens and herbs. You may have noticed a lot of people store greens and herbs in containers full of water. But wait, no, that isn't the right way. The correct way to store greens and herbs is to put them in a paper bag and store them in the fridge. Why? Well, the paper bag will absorb the extra moisture, help them breathe, and prevent them from rotting early. 4. Poultry and meat. If you're planning to eat meat, the best way to buy it is right before you're about to cook it. Yes, meat has a lot of bacteria that will make it rot fast, and that's definitely not hygienic. But if you do want to store meat for 1 or 2 days, then cover it in a plastic sheet and keep them in the deep freezer. 5. Bananas. To avoid bananas going bad, all you need to do is slip them into a paper bag or wrap them in a plastic film and place them in a dark and dry place. This way the bananas won't rot and are going to be fresh to eat. 6. Honey. This one is easy and tough to go wrong with. Honey should be stored in a glass, ceramic, or metal jar to prevent it from going bad. Make sure your honey is stored away from sunlight so that it doesn't lose its antibacterial properties. It should also be kept away from other food items that emit fragrances to avoid the honey from absorbing another scent. 7. Milk and yogurt. Milk and yogurt need to be placed at the end of the fridge so that they're at the best temperature and not near the door. Otherwise, the milk may go bad sooner than you think. 8. Bread. Bread can be stored in a plastic bag, a cloth bag, or a paper bag to maintain its softness for up to 5 days. If bread is to be stored for more than 5 days, it can be kept in the fridge at a lower temperature, thus preventing it from going bad. 9. Flour and grains. Flour and grains must be emptied out from the packaging that they are sold in. They should be poured into a ceramic or glass container to keep them away from bugs, and thus maintaining a long life. 10. Eggs. All refrigerators have a special section for eggs at the door. But wait, that's not good for the eggs. The constant exposure to warmer temperatures on opening the fridge will give the eggs a shorter life. What you need to do is place them deep inside the fridge so they aren't experiencing much temperature change and remain healthy.